I came on before I actually read the script, to be honest. Um, Obviously, after I had phone calls from Donald and spoke to him, then it was a sort of a bit of a negotiation whether I was going to be available time wise and things like this. So I agreed to do the film without actually reading the script. I didn't want to reference the other Blade Runner because I didn't want to sort of impose too many ideas and things like this. And always very important to see what Donald was thinking and what Denis was thinking and how he was thinking about his characters, and also to with Renee April, the costume designer, and to see where they were going to go with everything, because obviously that plays a big part on what happens with hair, with costumes and makeup and things. Well, after speaking basically to Denis and see what sort of world he wanted to create, we realized it was a very dark world and a very sort of like, almost sort of like colorless in a sense. And we decided to make most of our characters, our principals, with very dark, somber, sort of colorless hair to sort of almost take all the sort of almost in a sense take the life out of the hair, because it was a very humid, dense, dank world that we were going to be in, and to rather than have that obvious Los Angeles sort of blonde look, we sort of tried to take it all away, so it looked sort of in a way sort of futuristic, but not really anything that would really sort of stand out too much. And obviously to create the look, after discussing with Denis, it was sort of almost to go back, to go forward. We wouldn't want to jar the eye. We didn't want to make it look sci-fi. We didn't want to make it look too edgy. Almost a world that's sort of identifiable, that people could be in. Obviously, prepping, I used a lot of wigs to prep. Denis doesn't like wigs, so to speak. Not many directors do. And what was sort of interesting, one of the first looks we did was as Ana Diarmas as the pink girl once. She was one of the first looks we were doing, and we're discussing what color hair she should have. Obviously, she was going to have pink skin. We didn't know at that point what color pink, but I was working on a stock shop brought wig that we were colouring in the hair and makeup department, and it's sort of like putting different tones and different shades and things, and basically that's what actually we finished up using on camera, because by the time we didn't really have enough time, because we shot a lot of those things in prep. So by the time it had been decided, yes, this is the skin colour, this is where we're going to go with hair, we didn't have time to have anything made. That was it, basically. And that was sort of like something I got off the shelf in a store somewhere. We coloured. It was a blonde one, and we coloured because we wanted to not look like shop-bought, obviously, wig, but it was sort of like we wanted a multi-toned and sort of and purple with pink highlights in and things like this. Well, basically, we had 52 actors coming through. So I was looking after Robin on set and Anna. I was around, but I wasn't physically on set every day. I was sort of prepping, cutting wigs, organising what looks, testing the other actors as they're coming through, because we'd often, like Donald said, we'd get them sort of like 24 hours before they're going on camera, and we had to come up with a look. And obviously it sort of saved the day with Denis not liking wigs, because we knew we couldn't really go there. So other than Mariette, one of our characters, she was on a TV series, we couldn't cut her hair, we couldn't change the colour, we couldn't do anything, yet she was going to be filmed for about 6 weeks. So we decided to use, obviously, with a wig with her. Well, the limitations was also with the CGI, because I had to keep their hair sort of contained, and it wasn't about big hair, so we could morph the characters into one another, like Mariette and Joy into one another. So if it had been a sort of like a bigger look, it would have been too disturbing to the eye. So we kept the hair quite close to the head. Also, we were in a very humid atmosphere, so it wasn't about hair, big hair, or a lot of hair, because otherwise it would have died on set anyway. So basically the idea was to keep it quite close and quite stream-like, actually, in a sense. Even with Robin Wright, sort of just slick back, almost like sort of slightly androgynous looking, and most of our girls without really a lot of big hairdo numbers. It was almost pulling it back and making it look a little bit more believable. The only sort of extreme parts were our Vegas scenes where we had sort of showgirls and 60s sort of go-go dancers and Elvis Presley, Liberace, and those were a little bit more extreme. They were sort of our sort of a playing area, really.